Hello, are you planning on growing potatoes in these small 10-inch X-cut flower water buckets this year? Is that part of your plan? Well, I've been doing it for a number of years now, and I would normally put 2 inches of soil in the bottom of the bucket, sit the potato on that 2 inches of soil and top the bucket off. But I've often wondered what would happen if I actually, instead of having most of the soil above the potato in the bucket, if I had most of the soil below the potato in the bucket. So if I planted the potato nearer the top rather than nearer the bottom, what would happen? There's only one way to find out. I had to do an experiment, and I did. And I would say at this point I'm going to cut you to some video that I shot about 4 years ago with my mate Molly, where we planted the potatoes, we grew them on, and at the end of the video we harvest the potatoes and we do a weigh-in, and we pay particular attention when we harvest the potatoes to see where they've actually developed in the soil ball, whether the potatoes have developed above the seed potato in a limited space, or whether they've developed below the seed potato where there's more room. I'm not too sure we actually reached a definitive conclusion here, but what I would say is that if you manage your expectations to between 1 and 2 pounds of potatoes from one of these small buckets, you won't be disappointed. Enjoy the video. In this 10-inch pot, I would sow 1 seed potato on about 2 inches of compost, and that would give me a 6 to 8 inch covering of compost. And what I was finding was that at the end of the growing season, when I emptied this pot out, when I turned it over, when I took it off and exposed the soil ball, the root ball, there was no potatoes in that couple of inches except the seed potato. All the potatoes were actually above the seed potato. Okay. Apparently, early potatoes like this Winston and main crop potatoes like this Nicola have different growing habits. But these earlies are the potatoes I grow in these pots, and they definitely all do produce potatoes above the seed potato. These main crop, I generally grow those in raised beds or bags, but I have grown them in here. But what I've come to think since I've shot that video is that if I plant this with just 2 inches of compost below it, to be honest, there's no room for it to produce potatoes below it, is there? It's so close to the bottom it couldn't physically do that. And so maybe the way that I'm planting these things is putting that restriction on them. So what if we planted them, say, 6 inches from the bottom, so that we have a 6-inch space for roots to grow and maybe potatoes to develop, but we only have a 2 or 3, 4-inch covering, so there's no room up here for potatoes to develop. It's all below the seed potato. I think that's worth a shot, don't you? It's easy enough to do. Instead of putting 2 inches of compost in here, we'll put 6 inches of compost in here. We'll sit these on 6 inches, put 4 inches over them, and then when we come to harvest these potatoes, we'll see if there's anything growing in that 6 inches of compost. That should tell us one way or another, shouldn't it? Now, the way that I actually demonstrated this to you on the last video is to tell you to go and look at my videos 4-pot shootout. Basically, it's 4 pots of early potatoes that I've turned out, and I think you'll see in every instance there's nothing grown in them bottom 2 inches, but perhaps that's because there wasn't enough space. So let's give them some space. Let's do a trial. We're going to make some compost first. This is a soil-based compost of mine. There'll be all kinds in that from over the years, but it is a good compost. We'll give it some spark by adding some bloodfish and bone. And we'll also add some 6X dry farmyard manure, and this is why Molly is paying close attention. Did you see that trial I done? Well, hey, get out of there, where Molly sneaked in behind me and started eating the compost. Right, so I'll mix that up. Now I'm going to be sowing 2 pots today, and there isn't enough compost in here for 3 pots. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to add some of this stuff. This is forest bark and wood chip. Excuse me, Mol. So this is a really rustic mix of compost. It's soil based, but it's organically enriched with all that forest bark and wood chip and that bloodfish and bone. Right, Mom, let's get these 2 pots into shot. So these are our 2 pots. And rather than the usual 2 inches, we'll go 6 inches. And on the top of that one will sit Nicola. Okay. So as you can see, Nicola is planted at the top of this pot. There's going to be very little covering over Nicola. It's all going to be below her. And if she's going to produce potatoes, where's she going to produce them, above or below? What's your money on? Will it work? I don't know. We'll find out. Okay, that's Nicola. We've got a ticket made out. We'll stick it in. I'll pop this here. Keep an eye on Molly. Right. And this one, this is the early potato, Winston. It looks like we're just going to have enough here. So this is Winston. He hasn't got much room to do anything there, has he? Well, we'll find out, won't we? Will Winston be able to? Has Winston got enough room to produce potatoes? There we go. Oh, missed. There we go. Pop the other one in. Excuse me, Mol. That's it then. We're up and running. Early potato, main crop potato, 6 inches of compost below them, up to 4 inches of compost above them. Let's see where they produce potatoes, if in fact they do produce any potatoes. This is Winston at 10 week. As you can see, we've got the flowers. Winston's the first early. This is the second early, Nicola at 10 week. I think you'll agree these two guys are looking okay, aren't they? Be interesting to see how this turns out, won't it? Can't wait. Anyway, we'll have to wait another few weeks. They're not ready yet. But so far, looking good. This is Winston. As you can see, Winston's starting to fall over. He's not looking as well as he did a few weeks ago. And this, I think, is Nicola. And Nicola's also starting to fall over. Okay, the moment of truth. This is where we find out if there are any potatoes growing in this pot below the seed potato, or do they all grow above the seed potato. That was one of the reasons for this experiment, but another reason would be we'll be able to determine if this is a better way of sowing a potato, sow it nearer the surface of the pot rather than nearer the base of the pot. Don't put so much soil or dirt over it. Leave more underneath the seed potato rather than more over the seed potato. Anyway, let's do it. As you can see, my mate's turned up. I think she's stuck her head over this barrel. Now, what I'm hoping to do is to expose this root ball and take most of the compost away from it, most of the soil, without finding any potatoes other than seed potato. Excuse me, Molly. Well, we can see potatoes around here. I don't think you can see them around your side. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to work my way down, so we're going from the bottom of the pot towards the top now, looking for potatoes. There's definitely roots down there. I can feel the roots breaking up. Okay. So we're at least halfway down this pot now, would you agree? Let me see if I can put this into the shot. No, a bit further. Okay, there's the pot. So we've taken that amount of soil, dirt out of the pot. We've found no potatoes. Still no potatoes. We haven't actually got the seed potato yet. In fact, we might not. Now there's our first potato. Okay. And that is about, what does that look like to you? Let's do it with a hand. No, we can't. I could do them with a measuring stick here, Molly. You're going to need to believe me. That's about 4 inches down. So the first potato is 4 inches down from the top. Let's take a few out and see what we've got here. That's a lovely little one from all. I'll move this root ball out of the way in a minute. I just want... Now look, there's nothing at all. I'm down now to about 3 inches from the top of the pot. Can I lift this up without it breaking? I doubt it. Can you see that? That's about 3 inches. So we're 3 inches from the top of the pot now. So Winston has managed to squeeze these potatoes into the top couple of inches, and I've got to tell you what, there's a few of them and they're nice and clean. And they're your typical new potato, just small, just nice. Oh, we will need to do a weighing here, of course, because we always do. How's that? Now that was a potato deliberately sown near the surface. And look what we've got. Oh, there's the seed potato now. I can just see it. There it is. Hold on, Walt. Right. How's that looking? There's got to be a pound there, at least I would think. Potatoes that were deliberately sown shallow. I'm not too sure if we've got a conclusion here, are you? I'm not too sure where this is taking us. Anyway, Mo, what we'll do is we'll pop these potatoes in here. We won't put that seed potato in. Don't worry, there's one for you. In fact, I'll give you one now and that will maybe settle you down. She's watching these potatoes going into this. She's never took her eyes off. Look at her looking just over the top of that barra. Molly, give over, will you? Right, okay. There's a titchy. Okay, let's go and get the other potato. So this is Nicola. Okay, let's see where these potatoes appear in the pot. Right. Well, this pot's quite wet actually. It's either caught more rain or I've been heavy-handed with the watering can. Well, it's mud, just about. Look out, where did that one come from? Did that come out of here, or was that one of the last ones? Did anybody see where, did you see where this came from, Moll? Did it come out of here? Or did it fly out? If it came out of here, it's been below the seed potato. I'm positive. You think that bit of dirt left, Molly? We'll find out. Now these guys might actually be starting to get to be below the seed potato. Look at that. Hold on, I need to find this seed potato. Hold on. Wait a minute, Mom. I'd like to find it with some of these potatoes still. Where's it at? Oh yeah, I've just found the seed potato. It's stuck in here, but these guys are below the seed potato for definite. The seed potato is about 2 inches in there, and these guys are below the seed potato. So they've actually forced their way down into this pot, I would imagine. Right, let's leave those there, Mo. So when push comes to shove, although most of these potatoes are above the seed potato, some of them will actually grow below the seed potato. How about that? Did you know that? I didn't know that. I did not know that. Mind you, the majority are above it, but still, we're trying to prove whether they would grow above and below. And I think these guys have grown above and below. I'm positive they are. Positive. And not a bad harvest either. Lots of small ones, but that's all for your benefit, Molly, isn't it? There's lots of small ones. See those two on that plant? I'll just pretend I haven't spotted them, see if Molly takes them. See them? Right, there's the old sweet potato. Do you think she can see these potatoes that I've just left under her nose? What do you think? Okay. Put these to the back of the barrow. So that's one seed potato, planted shallow, deliberately, in a 10-inch pot. Some of those potatoes actually managed to grow below the seed potato, which has taken me by surprise. But hey, you maybe knew that. I didn't. One of the reasons I've done this experiment. So I've learned something today. Okay, right. Well, if you're not going to have them all, we'll have them. I'll give you that little one. We're going to take these indoors now. We're going to weigh them. I've washed the potatoes. They look a lot cleaner now. We're indoors. We'll weigh the Nicola first. And one thing that struck me since I've washed those potatoes is just how many I've got off this one seed potato. There's loads of them. I've never actually counted, but there is a lot of potatoes. Look at this. There's hands full of potatoes. And one thing I will say, which did surprise me, I thought because I was planting these potatoes deliberately shallow, that quite a few of them would break the surface and become greenbacks. You know, potato with green on it, because it had been exposed to the light. But none of these guys have broke the surface. A few small ones there, look. I think we might get £1.50 here, judging by what's left. I think they'll tip it, £1.50. We'll find out. Well, I make that £1.50. That's definitely £1.50. And that's from one seed potato that went in probably about, I don't know, that big. One seed potato went in, £1.50 came out. Potatoes deliberately planted shallow. And in this particular instance, this Nicola, I'm fairly confident that there were potatoes growing below the seed potato in that pot. I don't think there was room in the pot to get that lot in. Above the potato, look at it. That's a lot of potatoes from one potato growing in a 10-inch pot. Anyway, that's enough for Nicola. Let's do Winston. So this is Winston. I don't think there were any potatoes grew below Winston in that pot. I think they all grew above Winston. But you saw the reveal. I mean, you know, you saw what I saw. What do you think? This isn't going to make £1.50, I don't think, but still they're all sound potatoes. They're lovely and clean. What we've got there, I don't think it's £1.25, but £1.25 sounds, yeah. Come on, we'll go £1.25 with that one. £1.25 Winston, £1.50 Nicola. Take a look at these guys. One went in, all those came out. Deliberately planted shallow, and again, not a single greenback among them. They've all managed to stay covered by the soil and the dirt. Right. So this is where we say bye-bye, but not before we adjust this camera and give Molly a couple of those small potatoes, because there are two brown eyes staring at me Is that tail wagging, Molly? Yeah, the tail's wagging. Let's adjust the camera. There we go, sweetheart, some small potatoes for you. They never touched the sides, Molly, did they? They never touched the sides. Okay, good girl. Right, this is me and Molly at Homegrown Veg, signing out.